Welcome back to episode 5 of the Off the Rails podcast. I'm your host, Caleb Graham, and in studio with me today, I've got someone very special, someone, a lot of the community members might know as Yarber _ Barber. Is that the correct Instagram tag? I got it right.
Don't forget the J at the beginning.
J. Yep. But thanks for joining us today.
Appreciate it.
Before we get going, I need to do a little bit of housekeeping. Make sure you guys are sharing with the hashtag OTR podcast. That's going to get you entered in for the $50 steak and ale gift card monthly. And then make sure you guys are following, subscribing on Spotify, Apple, wherever else you're watching. You can watch the video format on YouTube if you want to see what we look like, if you're into that kind of thing. Also, make sure that, this week's giveaway winner of Mark's Auto Detailing giveaway is, this is Cheap Editor Caleb. Austin Lighty, congratulations. You won the $100 detail giveaway. Good job, bro. Now let's get back to the podcast. Congratulations, whoever you were. We aren't sure exactly yet, but good job. Now, you said you wanted to do something too, maybe for everyone with Faded and everything.
Yeah, I mean, if you come in the shop, you mentioned you've seen the podcast or the YouTube or Facebook or anything, I'll give you $5 off a Fade.
Okay. So that could be valuable. I mean, there's a lot of people that might be, hopefully a lot of people that are listening, right? But we'll share this out. We'll make sure everyone gets involved. But yeah, you can get $5 off a haircut, a fade at Faded. Makes sense. Now, we talked a little bit about Faded already, so you kind of know where we're headed with it a little bit. But tell us a little bit about what got you into, the cutting hair, the barbershop stuff.
Well, I'd say it started back maybe 2014. I got the opportunity to pick up a pair of clippers when I was in the Mojave Desert in the Army.
Yeah, and I knew you were active for how long?
5 years.
Okay.
Yep. And we were in the National Training Center in California, and we were there for maybe 55 days. And after 2 weeks, you could use a haircut type situation. So I started cutting some of my platoon members and platoon sergeants and fellow comrades in arms, and I think that's kind of where I found the love for it, but I didn't really know it was an option for me. At that point, I was still dead reckoning on spending 20 years in the Army. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and then I had to get my hair cut every 2-3 weeks. I started noticing the difference between good haircuts and bad haircuts and good services and bad services and the art of it all, essentially. So when I got out, I was thinking about the pipeline. I was thinking about a couple of other things. I came into Faded with my dad, and I asked them how do I become a barber, and they said go to barber school. So I went to barber school. I came back 8 months later and told them I took a liking to it, and I'm going to graduate, and they said they'll hire me, and the rest is history. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. I was wondering how you got in with them. So it was basically after you got out of the military, you went to barber school. Like, are you from around this area originally?
I grew up in Canton.
Okay. Ed, yeah, I work out with him. Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah, he told me to tell you hello when I came down here.
Yeah, well, he's like, you should go up to Fade and get your haircut. I'm like, oh, I will. I'll definitely do that. And then,
he's actually sent me quite a few clients, especially from the gym. He's made quite a name for himself down there.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, but that's really, we met at some of Ryan's stuff. Specific. Was it Wagon Wheel? Is that kind of...
Speakeasy.
Speakeasy sessions were the first one. And then Wagon Wheel, yeah, you guys came. Got your sticker. I've got it hanging around here somewhere. I don't know where at yet, but it's around here. And... yeah, so from there, I'm like, I need to actually get back up there. I'm waiting on another haircut. I need to book my appointment.
I figured that's why you had a hat on.
Yeah, that is why I have a hat on. But on top of that, now with COVID and everything, probably a lot of your clients already know, but how can they book for Faded right now?
Oh, we have a Booksy app, Booksy. You can find it on the App Store. You can find the link on our Facebook. You can find the link on my Instagram, and it's a beautiful thing. You book the appointment whenever you want by whatever barber you want. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to book an appointment type thing.
Right. And I obviously I'm growing up when my mother would take me to get my hair cut, I would go to like Supercuts and where, these chain places and no.
Call those fast food cuts.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's what you're getting. So, with the first time I went to faded, I don't know who did my first haircut, but eventually I started, Gordy was my guy. I'd come in, write my name. I'd come back down here and sit here for an hour. And then I'm like, it's about time. Go back up, wait about 10 more minutes and I'd get in. But it was, it's just a step above. I mean,
I've heard the stories about waiting 3 hours, 4 hours. I've been there.
Yeah.
Typically it's like, I mean, you wait and you get a really good haircut, or
and you can kind of, I mean, if you were still there when you were doing the list stuff, you could get in there and you could see about, okay, they're here.
Yep.
And I'd walk in, I'd walk back in and they'd say, Caleb, and I'm like, I'm right here. And they say, you just got here. I'm like, yeah, you don't have to sit in here, but do you like the booksy stuff better, or do you think you guys are still doing walk-ins, right?
Yep. Fridays and Saturdays. So basically, I mean, for a brand new shop or a brand new barber, you have no clientele, so walk-ins are perfect. Once you're, a regular barber, you've been doing it for a couple of years, you have clientele, so then when you can offer appointments, it's really just more convenient for everybody. You know how long you're going to be there, you know how long this is going to take. You can prep yourself for the cut if you know who it is. There's just all sorts of good things that come with appointments. And I mean, after COVID, I started the year looking at barbering and excited for my career and everything. And then 2 months later, they're like, yeah, you can't work.
Yeah. Now, so that probably affected you a little more than the other guys as far as booking, right? You didn't, or was it just, were you guys so flooded with people it didn't matter, were people just booking whoever as long as it was faded, or at the beginning of when you guys started using Booksy, were you still trying to build out a clientele base and everything?
So they started Booksy in January.
Okay.
So they kind of got the wrinkles removed before COVID, and then we were shut down for 2 weeks. 2 months. We couldn't cut hair for 2 months. So when we came back, the Booksy app was already introduced, and we had to go to appointments anyways, per guidelines. So I mean, it definitely took off, I think, for everybody. I mean, those guys have been cutting in there for 4 years, man, and they have a great reputation in this town.
Oh yeah. No, it speaks volumes on those guys that, even before, when you had the list and you were waiting, people were waiting. They didn't care. They were like, I'm getting, like, this is what I want. They know what they want, and they know they're getting a quality cut, and it really does make a difference. I remember vaguely, I was still a little younger. I remember vaguely when they moved in there, and it was, all my friends were like, oh, you got to get up there. So they really did. They did a good job marketing it at the beginning too, which is, key for basically any business getting started. But outside of that, what we're in the Army, walk us through a little bit of that. What got you into that? Was that right after high school, pretty much? And then
yeah, so basically, ever since I was like 4, I've been putting camouflage on, and that's what I always wanted to do, regardless of where I was in my life. So that's what I did. And I spent 5 years. I went to Hawaii for 3 years, and life will never be the same.
Yeah. Is that where you were stationed at?
Yeah. My first contract, I was stationed in Hawaii. 3 years. I had awesome NCOs. Some of them had already been there on previous contracts, so they showed us places that the typical person would have never seen. We went surfing on Wednesdays. It was a wild time, man. 3 years, and it went by so fast. And I was young, and I didn't see the end. So, I definitely want to go back. And I made some of the best friends, some of the best memories. They've all been super supportive on my journey. And then after that, I went to Fort Campbell, which is where Gordon was stationed. So when I did go in there for my haircut, we started talking a little bit, and we tell people we chewed the same dirt a decade apart. So,
yeah, that's cool. You got any fun stories you remember from those days that, you're just on the top of your head? You're like, man.
Well, I was a mortarman, so I got to blow targets up all the time.
Oh, yeah.
High explosive rounds from 60 millimeter to 120 millimeter cannons that shoot almost 4 miles. The technology about it I learned, and everything I learned, the discipline I learned. We we had a lot of wild nights, man, especially Honolulu and the North Shore.
And probably some wild women too, right?
Oh, yeah, but we don't want to talk
Don't
about
want to go into
that.
that? No, but yeah, no, I can imagine. I can imagine Hawaii. That's probably, I've never been out. So the farthest west I've been to Arizona. That's where I went to school for a little bit. But for some reason, while I was out there, I never went any farther west than Phoenix. I went up to Flagstaff, Arizona. Very nice. And for some reason, I didn't make the trip to the Grand Canyon that was like 50 miles away. And
you can always go back.
Right, yeah, and that's the goal. But for some, I was just thinking about that. I'm like, man, why didn't I just, it's right there. You know, it's like Columbus. You just drive.
I've heard about it. The furthest west I've been is Colorado. I was in the Mojave, like I said earlier, where I learned how to cut hair. And that's in California. There's nothing there. So I don't even really consider that my time out west. But I went to Colorado last summer, and man, that place.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I have a bunch of friends that moved out there, and they love it. I mean, it's got a little bit of everything. You know, whatever you're looking for, you can pretty much find it there. So
yeah, and part of my time in the Army, I met so many people that I can say that I have a couch to sleep on in at least 45 different states.
Yeah,
Colorado is one of them. My buddy, he let me stay at his house all week and Miss Daisied me around Colorado and showed me all sorts of things, and that's just the beginning, man. I mean, this is all just the beginning, and that's the most exciting part about it.
Right, and I was thinking about that when we were talking at I think it was a speakeasy session. You were saying, you know, down the road, what's the plans for you down the road? I'll let you explain those.
Well, I mean, eventually I'm going to open up my own shop. I think every barber should strive to open up their own shop, their own dojo of whatever they want. I mean, it's crazy. It's so much fun just to think about. But I mean, with a name like Yarber the Barber,
right?
I have to capitalize on this situation. You know what I mean? I mean, it's crazy, dude.
No, yeah.
Down the road, I'm going to open up a shop. I'm going to have your beard balms, your beard products, your shampoos, anything for the hair. I plan on renovating a camper and putting my face on the side of it and travel around and stop at
a little bit of a traveling barbershop kind of thing.
You can see the U.S. and you can make money. I mean, as a barber, we can take vacation and cut hair, and make money. And not a lot of people say that they can make money on vacation. I mean,
well, and yet when you think about it, especially with social media, how it is now and everything, I mean, you can build a following as a barber, and you know, it's not all word of mouth through a town now. It's, hey, I'm online, hey, follow me, you know, and you're getting all this big following that you can use, and then say, hey, we're going to be in, I don't know, we're going to be in Atlanta this week, like, find us here. And so I think, you know, if that is something with like the mobile, you know, the RV kind of thing, they're just, it's limitless as far as
it's there, dude. Limitless is a perfect word, dude. Sky is the limit. And the thing about it is, I think it's about just finding your passion, finding what you want to do. And I'm blessed that I found barbering, because I mean, a lot of people work jobs that they don't necessarily like. They might just like the money.
Yeah.
Some people work jobs and they hate them. And I wouldn't want to be there, you know what I mean?
No, I talked to Meadowbrook kids earlier today. I was sitting right here talking to them, and you know, they were asking they're like, how much do you make a year and all this stuff? And I'm like, look, here's the deal. I'm like, you can go work a 9 to 5 or whatever, and you know, you with doing your own thing, you can basically determine how much you want to make, where you want to make it, and all that kind of stuff. And you know, I try to explain to them, like, how valuable is your time versus, do you just care about how much you're making, or do you care about, okay, I made a little less, but I was home, I was able to go do this, I was able to go do this, right? And I think that's a really cool thing with the mobile stuff is, you know, that's something you could do. You could be in Florida one week and, you know, cut hair for a few days or a week or whatever, and then you can go to the beach, you know, in your free time and all that. That's something I'm hoping I get to do this summer. Is obviously we're not gonna have a lot of school stuff, so I'm hoping I can go on a tour. I know a few guys, singers, that are going on tour. I'm sure you can figure out who it is, but they're gonna be, you know, touring the Gulf Coast, throughout the summer. So I'm like, hey, give me a room. That's all I need. I'll find money.
Videography is huge, especially now if you're trying to promote yourself. Instagram is a perfect tool for a portfolio of any kind. And that's what I try and juggle my Instagram. I didn't want to make a barber Instagram because people don't necessarily care about your cuts. Some people come to you because your personality. Some people come to you because you're a cool guy. You're their friend, whatever.
Right.
So I wanted a mix of my talent and my life. And now I can take my Instagram and take it to any barbershop and say,
right,
are you hiring? This is how I cut. Is it good enough? Do you like it? Yes, no, okay.
Yeah, versus like, hey, I'm this guy at Faded. I'm me, and that is big. That's why I kind of wanted to start doing this, is because I feel like, obviously we do a lot with the schools, but I feel like it just became, they're just this company that does video. I was like, really, I'm the only one that is, I've got Ethan that helps me a lot, but like, we're just two people. It's not this giant thing where it's like, oh, they just make videos and all they see is the end product. Whereas like this, I want to be more personable, bring people in from the community, talk to them, and kind of get that like one-on-one with people, but then also the people watching are able to see, oh, they have personalities. Yeah. They're not just a system or something that's posting stuff. So
we're all humans,
Right. And that goes to a lot of people. I mean, there's big companies that I'm sure, these guys in charge are like, man, I just wish people would just see me as me, or whatever it is.
Yes, sir.
And so I think it's important, especially I like the way you're doing it, is building out a brand that's you. And you got me in there. I mean, I'm signing up for you. Wow. And so and that was just, you'd never cut my hair before, right? Like I just saw you at the bar. And so boom, right there. I'm like, okay, that's my guy. So,
and marketing, dude, like with haircuts, we think, okay, so when do people get their haircut? Why do people get their haircut? Do they have a wedding? Do they have an event? Are they trying to impress somebody? So then you can go to certain areas, and that's where you do your marketing. And the bar, that's the best place to do it, because half the people in there are trying to impress somebody.
Right.
And they want to be fresh. And, I mean, we've definitely, me and my comrades down at Faded, we've done our fair share of going out marketing. And I'm never scared to ask somebody if they have a barber. I'm never scared to ask somebody where they get their haircut. If they have a really nice haircut, I always compliment them and say, your barber's good. I mean, like, people see somebody with a tattoo and they say, nice tattoo, man, but they don't think about the artist that did the tattoo. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's a great marketing area.
Right. Yeah. I've never even thought about that where, I mean, the bar, you've got either, you've got husband and wife there sometimes, but for the most part, certain bars, you're going to find a lot of single dudes, a lot of single girls. They're trying to impress her, and it just makes sense.
Even the husband-wife thing. Half the time, a husband comes in the shop. He said his wife wants him to go get a haircut, trim his beard, whatever. So, I mean, thing about it is you put out good work, good quality work. You mentioned earlier, we talked about great clips, sports clips. Okay, so that's quantity over quality. That they figured out that they could make money off of haircuts. That's why your haircut's only 10 to 15 minutes long. Now, if you go for the quality side, then you're in the chair for 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, depending on what you're doing. You get a nice haircut, hot towel, straight razor. These things take time.
Oh yeah,
to produce,
and they're expensive.
Yes.
Not even the cut, just the actual, like the razor, that's where I was going. It's like the clippers, I don't even know all the terms, but those things add up. I mean, that's with a lot of businesses, but like a lot of people don't think about that side of things. So like with us, it's a lot of, well, you were there for 2 hours, but you don't see the 8 to 10 hours that we're editing stuff. It's like the upfront's there, but here's this, and you don't even see this side of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's the same. I mean,
oh yeah, the tools are expensive. I mean, if you want them to work right, and I mean, you can buy cheap tools and then your haircuts won't look as good. But if you spend the money on quality equipment, razors, shavers, edgers, you got to change out your blades every couple months because they get dull cutting all that hair. I mean, the busier the barber, the more changing blades you're doing.
That's crazy. Yeah. And yeah, like the quantity of people you have coming in there. I mean, I'm impressed at, I haven't seen, people have still, it's the standard in this area. It hasn't changed with the amount of people that have been there. It's always kind of remained the same as far as here, you're getting quality. We're not trying to get you in and out, you're there for the experience. So that's really, really cool. I think what a lot of people don't, necessarily see, from the business side, are there any like expenses, people don't really think about as far as the barber side of business that you'd be like, oh, wow, that makes sense. But I never even would have think of that.
So basically you're either on commission or you're renting the booth. So I work for booth rent.
Okay.
So like G&T, they own the shop, they pay the bills, they do all that. I pay my booth rent. As long as my booth rent is in every week, I got a chair. I'm renting the chair. So my expenses will come from my booth rent and then my equipment.
Okay.
Which is, it's great. Now, if I was working for commission, they'd take 20, 30%, whatever. I ain't working for nobody. The best part about where I am in life right now is that I'm not working for anyone.
And you're not tied down. If you needed to go somewhere, if you wanted to go out west or whatever it is, you can do it. That's pretty cool. And see, that's something I would have never even thought about is, like you're there, you've got your spot. Now, outside of that, can someone else, like could another barber come in and, say, hey, I want to rent this booth? Or is it kind of just like there's an agreement, like, here's what we do? And
yeah, if any barber came in and was like, I would love to work here, and, they'd get an interview and whatever. They plan on expanding the shop.
There's a lot of room in there that
Yes.
is kind of just hidden.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like it's been a shop for 4 years. So in 10 years total, that place will be off the chain, man. It takes time to build all that up.
Oh, yeah.
And they started with the local clients, the reputation. We have people drive from Canton, Coshocton, West Virginia, Pennsylvania. People out west, people who know the barbers want their gear. It's still growing. It's awesome. It really is awesome.
That's cool. Now, how about the products and stuff? You're probably not using a ton of it, but definitely more than like some person. Do you pay for those products, or are they just kind of in the shop? Like the hair gels, the sprays.
So the shop offers their own products that they get from other people, but then as an individual barber, we can push our own products or whatever products we feel.
Yeah.
And there's so many out there that, that's kind of what I'm working on now is kind of getting that. Products are huge, man.
Mm-hmm.
And if say I buy a bunch of product, then I can sell it off my shelf and make a profit off of it. And I get all the time, what'd you put in my hair? What is this? What is this? What'd you put in my beard? So, it's definitely, that's just another thing about the haircut.
Yeah.
And then you have gear, and then you have stickers. And,
right.
The sky's the limit, man.
Yeah, and that's definitely, I that's another thing I was trying to figure out. I'm like, now I know they have products, but I don't know, do they sell them? So that makes sense. And you're right. As someone who's renting a booth, you could, I don't even know if there would be a limit on it, but obviously you can do stickers. You could do anything. You could probably have your own shirts if you wanted to, right? And just
I'm working on that.
Yeah, yeah. So that is very, very cool. That's not even something I would think of. As an outsider that's coming to get a haircut, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going in. This guy, and with Fade, I could kind of understand you're not getting paid like hourly by them, but some people might think that, where it's like, okay, he's just here, he's like an employee, but it's a lot more than that. And there's a lot more freedom in that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And then some people look at at a haircut as a haircut, and then people like us, we look at it as a piece of art.
Yeah.
If I spend 45 minutes on your head, it's a piece of art. You know what I mean? You're walking around with my name on your head, and if anybody says that's a good haircut, you'll feel good. You might refer me. Whatever.
Right.
If anybody said it's a bad haircut, you might not ever sit in my chair again. So, there's all these major factors in clientele. Who you want to attract, like I'm a big fan of like old school pompadours, comb overs, slick backs.
I'm a slick back fan.
Mullets. I mean, and it's our job as barbers to be able to essentially cut anybody's hair
and adapt to what they're thinking. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's great. I was just you're blowing my mind over here with all this stuff.
As soon as so you come in a barbershop, you're a first timer, you sit in a chair. The whole time I'm caping you up and asking you how you want your hair cut and running a comb. I'm basically figuring out.
You're kind of reading them.
What I need to do. It's a consultation. So like with the comb, you go through, you can feel like bumps, moles. There's so much to learn. Then you have head shape. That if somebody wants a certain haircut and they have a certain head shape, you have to basically cut the hair to their head shape for it to look right. You want it to be symmetrical. I mean, dude, there's so much to it, man.
That's crazy. Yeah,
and that's why I love it, man. Because
there's a lot to it we don't see that, and it'd be the same with any. It'd be the same thing with me. I mean, there's stuff that I would enjoy outside of just posting a video, and people don't even think about it, and that's a really big point. That's with a lot of things.
The man hours, man. The man hours.
Yeah. And now, when you get in the mornings or whatever, is it you're just in when you have a client? Like, is it if you don't have anyone till 12? Are you there at 11? Or are you there all? Well, with walk-ins, I guess it'd be a little different, right?
Yeah, I do walk-ins Saturdays from 10 to 2, so I'll be there at 10. But I mean, my book's open at 10. If no one's coming in till 11, then I don't come in till 11. I just get a little extra sleep.
That's why, like with us, we'll be, we don't have games till the afternoon. I still try to get up and get in here because sometimes I'll have people walk through the door, but for the most part, I'm in bed until I have to be up, and it's a little bit of everything. I know, like Ethan over here, he'll sleep in pretty, but he just edits. Like he didn't have to be up at 8 a.m. to come. So it makes a lot of sense. He can work till 3 a.m. if he wants to, and then go sleep, and then come back whenever the next day, and it's not that big of a deal. Outside of the barbering stuff, what are some things that are what are you doing on your free time?
Well, usually. I'm on the bike, but
yeah, you got a nice bike, don't you?
Yeah.
That's part of the Instagram right there. We sell some of that. What do you have?
It's a Harley Davidson Fat Boy Special, and I bought it completely stock, and I transformed it into what I wanted it to look like, and I put 10,000 miles on it in 8 months, which to me, it is a lot, but it wasn't enough. And then there's other people who are like, that's a lot. Right.
Now, do you go cross country with it? You kind of go...
I've never ridden it out of the state yet. I just got it last year.
Okay.
I trailered it.
Oh, yeah. Now, do you have I don't have a bike. I would love to get one at some point. What's 8 Lug Thug? He has a bike too, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Him and we met riding at probably, I think it was around August maybe.
Is that how you met, was riding?
Well, so basically he came in the barbershop one day and needed a beard trim. And, he was talking about the shop he used to go to in Charleston, West Virginia, and they cut Tyler Childers' hair and stuff like that, So he knew what he was looking for when it came to a barbershop. So I cut his beard, and a week later, I got invited to ride with these guys, so I met him at the gas station, and as soon as I pulled up, I seen Jake, and he came up, and he was like, "Hey, man, you cut my hair," and we've been kicking it since.
Yeah,
we put quite a few miles on the bike last year, and plan on putting more miles this year. I mean, he's a good dude.
You got any spots you really like? As far as riding, roads, different locations,
anything south of here.
Yeah.
I've been up north. I've been to Akron, Cleveland, Sandusky. It's flat, and there's a lot of traffic. But anything south of here, you can find a back road.
Get into the mountains a little bit.
It's like riding a roller coaster, man.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. One day I'll have a bike. I had to buy a drone first. That's a lot cheaper than a bike.
I recommend financing one if.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Did you go through like a Harley dealership?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't want to... I rode my first Harley in Hawaii.
Okay.
and
Be a good song.
fell in love with it, dude. I mean, you think like that drone following me down the beach, down the
That'd be
coast,
sweet,
dude. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. So I mean, I definitely fell in love with the wind therapy, and you know, once I got out and got licensed and started making some money, that's the first thing I did was buy a Harley. I actually bought that Harley 2 days before they shut our barbershop down.
Oh, so that would have been, was that March then still? Yeah.
So instead of panicking, I just hopped on the hog and I rode it, and that's all I did. I cut some hair on the side,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
but I rode the Harley all summer long, and I plan on riding it for the rest of my life.
Oh, I couldn't imagine. I don't remember when did you guys reopen after, you know, I know they closed it in March.
Yeah, we were shut
Was it
down
June?
for 60 days, I believe. 50, 58, 60 days, something like that. So it was around the same time. But yeah, it was June, yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get my hair cut for a while after COVID. I let it grow. That's why the top's so long. And then finally I was like, I can't.
We had a lot of people calling, inboxing, you know.
Did you have a lot of mullets after everyone got back? Was that like a thing? They're like, just let it grow.
And it actually gave some of our clients the opportunity to grow out their hair and do something different, something that they might not have seen.
Right.
I mean, we're all used to the high and tights and, you know, the buzz cuts that was coming out of the 90s and 2000s. But now, dude, like men's hair is like where it's
a thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Like that's when I was younger, I would always just, you know, I'd spike it up a little bit. It'd be about an inch, maybe an inch, you know, probably about a half an inch long. And then coming probably 2 years ago, I was like, I let it grow out a little bit. Then I started going to faded, and this is something too, I guess, going to faded versus somewhere else. You almost have like this, like, it's an experience.
It's a vibe, dude.
Yeah,
Shop's
right.
Vibe, yeah.
Whereas like if I go to like Supercuts or something, I'm like, just cut it short.
It ain't the barbershop.
Yeah, you know, and
The barbershop is an environment in itself.
Mm-hmm.
And until you get that environment, you won't appreciate it. But once you realize, like, this is where the gentlemen come to hang out. I mean, ladies come too, you know.
Right.
Come on in. But this is where everybody comes to hang out, get their hair cut. And then when you turn them around and they see their haircut and they see the finished product, you see the little glow in their eyes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they keep coming back, man.
Well, and that's what I think with faded, it's almost got this. It's the vibe. I mean, it's definitely the vibe, but you have this confidence going in there and be like, dude, I want my hair to look sweet. Like this has been a good one too, as far as branching out, because I've done 4, but for the most part, you know, I don't hang out with all these guys all the time, but I've been around them a lot longer. Whereas like with you, I met you with Ryan just this year. So this is pretty cool. You know, being able to branch out and see, you know, test my limits too, versus just bringing people in that I know. And yeah, so
The world is yours, dude. Wherever you want to take it. I mean, I wholeheartedly believe in you get what you put into it. You get out of it what you put into it. And I mean, that's with anything in life. So as far as I'm concerned, you stay motivated and chase your dreams.
yeah, no, we'll keep doing that for sure. So I don't know if you know I don't know if you know too much about how we started, but we started basically in 2018. I was in college and I started doing this stuff in college, but I got so busy, I left. I was like, this is, you know, I don't need a degree to tell myself what to do. So I started doing this. We got in here in 2019, June, I believe. And, you know, the rest is history, just adding new stuff every almost season with sports. But outside of that, you know, we're going to start doing the podcast. It's going to be a weekly thing.
It's awesome. It's a
cool little studio.
Oh yeah, dude. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And were you here for any of the studio stuff? Or no, yeah, that's your first time here. That's what you were saying when you walked in. But we had Ryan and Adam here, you know, and they played. And so I'll have to, I know they want to do more of those concerts. I'll be inviting you. So
Oh man.
we'll see you guys down here. You can bring the squad. We'll be socially distanced, whatever. Not really, but we'll say we were. So,
Oh man, what a year, dude.
Yeah.
I think this year, I mean, so last year, it shocked everybody type thing. And I mean, this year, I think this year will be way better than last year. Now that we kind of know what's going on, I don't know.
I feel like 2018, 19 was like, we started like, I don't think people knew how good we had it. I mean, everything was just great, for the most part, but everything was great. You can go do this, go do that. You don't care. You don't think about anything. The economy was the best it's been ever, and then boom, 2020 hits. And it's not a good thing, but it might help, people realize, hey, it's not going to be great forever. There's going to be bad. And I think this could be our version of, the roaring 20s, right? It starts with like this, like down.
100%, dude.
Yeah. And
100%, dude. Just being in the barbershop, these guys talk about, this is the slow season. It's usually slow, maybe some Valentine's Day cuts, but generally, it's slow. Dude, we're so busy, man, pulling Jimmy off the hook. Everybody's booked out because of the past year. People want to support local business. People want to get out.
Yeah, and we're seeing that. I know you said you didn't know too much about what was going on with the stock market and everything right now. So, long story short, GameStop.
I seen a bunch of memes.
Yeah. GameStop, American Airlines, Bed Bath & Beyond, something else. For like the worst, like these are failing companies kind of thing. Now, granted, American Airlines, it's just down because of COVID. But people went in and bought, so Reddit, there's people on Reddit that were like, hey, there's these guys shorting this stock, which is basically, these big hedge fund guys on Wall Street are saying GameStop's, it sucks. We're going to short it. That means they bet on the future of it being worse, basically. And so this guy on Reddit was like, we got like a following, and I think GameStop's worth more. And so he's like, if we all just buy GameStop and don't sell it when it gets high, these Wall Street guys are going to lose a lot of money. And as of today or yesterday, the Wall Street hedge fund investors are down $70 billion. And so everyone's trying to get it back, and they're like, well, and so like all the trading apps are blocking sales of it. They're doing this, they're doing that.
Which is illegal. Not illegal.
Yeah. And so but you got to look at it from their perspective. They could lose $70 billion, or they could lose a lawsuit for like 500 million. For them, they're like, oh, we don't care. We'll send some low level guy to jail. We don't, but it's really crazy what's happening right now. This is going to be historic. Like, it's already going to be historic because everyone's like, man, we're just through this pandemic, and the only people, job wise that made, huge gains were these hedge fund speculation guys on the stock market. And I don't know how exactly it started, but basically it was just some guy. He was like, hey, let's all buy GameStop. And then everyone's like, yeah, and which GameStop is failing, but now their stock went from, it was like $4 or $5 in like 2 days. It was up to $300 a share. So there was guys posting on the internet, hey, and now I have $8 million. Yeah. So it's funny because it took a lot of money from these billionaire hedge fund elites, put it into the hands of literally it made millionaires overnight out of regular people. And the app is called Robinhood. It's like, it's just so silly. And then now they blocked it, and it's like, are you really Robinhood, or like, what are you? Right. And so,
yeah,
it's just, the irony was interesting to me. And it's a weird thing, because I wasn't in for any. I know a lot of my friends were asking me, because in college and even like high school, I was like, guys, get Robinhood. We need to just buy stocks, and I was like real into it. But then I was like, I have a business. I need my money, like, so I can use it, and so I didn't have really anything in it. And I heard people talking about, like, man, like, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? But
yeah, I mean, I think right now, we've been talking about the age of information that's been going on, since the internet, but I think now more than ever, people are paying attention and people are researching what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is all the history books and everything that we read and all the information that we had, just 20 years ago was filtered.
Yeah.
And now people are learning about Christopher Columbus and they're like, upset about it. But it's like, this is the reality of it all. So,
Right. Well, and I think that it'll depend. We'll see where we're at in 3 or 4 months, even a year. But I could see this event because this is the first time this ever happened with the stock market and these. This is, they literally took
they flipped the script.
Nearly $70 billion from the elites and put it into the hands of normal people. And that's what we want. That's like the whole, like, that's like almost like America's like vision is like, we want it there. And it's very interesting that, that's GameStop was the one that did it basically. There's other ones involved, but GameStop was like the really big one.
Yeah. I seen a meme. It was the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio dressed up in a GameStop uniform,
Yeah. No, it's very weird where we're headed. I don't know. Now I think, and back to this is the point I was going to make was after this crazy, like after all this division, and now everyone's here and we can't talk to each other because why would we talk to each other? That's stupid. That's what they don't want. I think if this is played right, if the cards are played right by the right people, this stock market thing could be Biden wants us to be unified, right? But he's yelling at half the country is mad at him, half the country loves him. I don't think he's gonna be the one that unifies us. I think this could be a unifying thing. I'm on the left, I'm on the right. Yeah, I don't like big hedge fund people, and you can see it on Twitter too. I haven't looked too much into it, but even these Congress people on the left, on the right, they're like, this is interesting, this is crazy, and they're commenting on each other's stuff like, let's do it together. And that's the first time we've seen that in a long, like at least 4 years, within the last 4 or so years. So this, looking back at this event that's still kind of unfolding, I think this could be like the thing that like makes the country like, okay, we're not that different.
We need something, dude.
Yeah,
separation is, I mean, we talk about it and you see it on the internet more than you do in real life. Eventually you might see two people fist fighting in the street because one's on the left and one's on the right. But the keyboard warrior is a real thing, dude. These faceless people that get on the internet and stir it up.
Well, and having to stay in our houses for the last X amount of, that doesn't really,
That'd do somebody wild.
Yeah, and I think that contributed a little bit to this event was people are bored. They're just most people are back to work, but for the most part, people have just been sitting at home.
Working from home.
Yeah, they can't go do anything. So they're looking at stocks. They're looking at the stock market. They just got their stimulus check. They're like, let's support the cause. I've got an extra $200-$300 to spare.
That's a smart thing to do with your money. I mean, generally, your money should never really be sitting in a bank account.
Right. I've learned that, and I don't do as good as I used to do with it. But yeah, anyone listen. I mean, the stock market on average is what, 7% a year. So obviously that's way better than like a savings account.
Yes.
And then even on top of that, if you really want to get risky, you can go crypto. Talk a little bit about that with the last guy that was here. I don't know how involved you are with crypto stuff. I don't know
like
if you're
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Not really.
No. Yeah. I used to be really into it. And for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been pretty much out of it.
I got some Xbox Live coin. I could.
Yeah. Yeah. But for the most part, I think, it's, go either stock market, diversify. You can get 7% a year. Or if you really want to play it safe, there's like ETFs and all that stuff that are like Roth is a very good one. And actually, I learned something today about Roth IRAs. You can invest in real estate with your Roth IRA. They won't tell you that. They said, just buy some stock, buy this, and put some money in it. Your Roth, the money you put in, you can use that to buy property and then rent. You can put that rent back in, and that rent, once you cash it out, is tax-free.
Wow.
I was like, okay. I mean, that's, if you wanted to get real creative with it, that's an option. And yeah, they said, no one will ever tell you this, but you can invest in real estate with your Roth. So so that's something to keep in mind. I don't know if that I'm going for my real estate license. So now
nice,
I'm like,
very nice.
it gives me something to do during the day when I'm not filming games. I'm like,
Very nice.
that's pretty cool. So.
Yeah, and then you take your state board and your national test, and
Right. Then I can go
it's awesome.
sell some property while I'm in the Gulf. And
Yeah, dude.
right.
Networking. I think, with life, you learn different trades, you learn different things, and then your experience, and then you relate to people. And I generally believe if you're a kind person that show people respect, it speaks volumes. It goes further than you'd think it does.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you've done a good job with that. Just as far as, you've got your name out there pretty well as far as the Cambridge area, the greater Cambridge area, whatever you want to call it.
If I would have started barbering outside of high school, I would have had nothing to talk about. But since, I lived a little bit of life,
Mm-hmm.
now when somebody sits in my chair, I can relate to them in a lot of different ways, and that helps too. Because if I'd have just been talking about, detention and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, that's a good point too. Is you've seen a lot as far as just in general, not even as far as like just places and things and all this, but that is that a trait you see in a lot of barbers? Is the personality of that person? Is that something that when shops are looking to bring guys in, they're looking at, okay, can they connect with these guys? Or
Personality is key. Nobody wants to work with a jerk.
right.
Sometimes you don't learn they're a jerk until a couple months, couple years down the road type thing. But when it comes to barbering, you want to attract people. And if you have a good personality, you can attract a lot of people. And they just want to sit in your chair and talk about whatever.
Right. Yeah. And see,
With a new client, you'll kind of poke around.
right. Yeah. You're trying
If
to
they don't want
find,
to talk, then we don't have to talk. But, some guys come in there and they want that barbershop experience. They want to talk about the weather and the sports and everything in between. So,
yeah. Do you have any guys that come in like group wise that are like, they'll only come in with like 3 or 4 of their buddies? And
so I got a lot of amazing friends out there, man. People travel. I grew up in Canton. I've had several people drive down from Canton to
Really?
get their haircut, and some of them are on like a 2 to 3 week basis. There's a whole family that comes down and sees me. The dad and the 4 brothers, they all come, and they'll book appointments. They'll fill up, my morning or my afternoon or whatever, and it's just great to see that support, man. It means a lot.
that helps too. I know with some of Ryan's stuff and some of Adam's stuff, really some of our stuff too, is once you can get your own community behind you and where you're from, and that's when it starts snowballing and it grows bigger than that. So like even with Ryan, he has all like this giant following and whatever. It's pretty big, but he, for the last 2 years, he's been saying, he's like, I could never get Guernsey County behind my music, behind me. But now he's like, these last few years we've been doing these videos. I've been back into town every month or so. He's like, it's really starting to like take off because my community's behind me. It's not just some fans from Florida, some fans from Georgia. He's like, now I've got this community that's sharing my content to the area.
That's what you need.
Yeah.
And not only is it sharing, getting your name, but it's motivating, it's encouraging, it's humbling. Because, they see potential, and that's why they're interested. They want to follow you. They want to listen to you. They want you to cut their hair. They want you to video them, interview them.
Right.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate the invite, dude. This is cool, dude.
We're going to do a lot of these.
Good.
I'd like to do, obviously the plan's once a week. I don't know if we're going to have a guest every week. Love to. So far, we've done good. Got about halfway through March, and we're still booking people, but I think it's going to be good for the community, as far as
to see the community.
Yeah, and hear them and see who they are as a person versus just, oh, here they are at their job. Yeah, now with you guys are pretty personable when you're in a chair, but
yeah,
some jobs, I could have people on that like they have to act a certain way when they're at their job, or they have to act a certain way where they can kind of loosen up here. They can come and talk about what they do and still they can feel a little safer versus, like I can't talk to you a bunch right now. Now you can listen to a 45-minute hour podcast with the person,
Yeah, it's awesome.
Get to know them. And the other thing with the podcast side of stuff is I've learned, so like with our videos, you're basically, now obviously it's high school stuff and all this, but you're basically trying to reach that community. So Meadowbrook, you're going to reach those people regardless. You know, they're going to see it. They're like, oh, I like my school. Here's my kids. So they'll share it out. And really what you're trying to do is get more than the community around it, you know.
Diverse. Diversity.
Yeah. And with the podcast, it's going to start out a lot smaller than like, oh, hey, like our videos get thousands of views, but that's because their kids play, or that's because, oh, I went to school there. I want to see that. This can be bigger than that, but it takes commitment to it, versus the high school stuff. You know, you're trying to make it bigger than their community, but it's really hard to do that with just a high school sport that's like not going to the state championship every year, right? So, 100%, yeah. So with this, you know, it'll start out pretty small, but you'll have a niche group of people that like enjoy listening to this every week. You know, you're going to find I feel like it's going to be a lot of business minded people that are wanting to listen to this, a lot of people that want to get to know more of the people in the community. And you're going to have a lot of, you know, there's a niche for every type of person. So someone that likes our podcast might not like a podcast where, you know, we're talking about real raunchy, crazy stuff. But at the same time, those people are like, your podcast's boring, you know, but that's why you have a niche for it is you're going to build that audience that could be bigger than just your high school audience. It could be millions of people. So look at Joe Rogan, you know, I mean, that dude, now granted, he's a big comedian and everything, but he started just as friends. He's like, I don't know, I'm bored. And
they have a lot of content.
A lot of money.
Microphone.
Yeah.
And they talk about some crazy stuff.
Yeah. And I think the more of these we end up doing, you know, the more
100%.
You know, people go back, are like, oh, I wonder who else has been on the show. And so just being a month in, I'm pretty excited about it. It's been pretty cool.
It is exciting. Like I said, my dad knew who he was.
Really? Well, yeah.
Before I did.
Yeah, because, he's over there. And then, I just thought of someone. I couldn't remember who it was. Someone with the last name Yarber followed me about an hour before you got here.
Might have been my mom.
What's your mom's name?
Sherry.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's who it was.
Yeah, well, I told her I was going to be on this podcast here, so she wanted to see the results.
Well, shout out Sherry.
Shout out Sherry.
This will be out. Well, you'll hear it when it's out, I guess.
Yeah, she will. Yeah.
But yeah, so this will be out on, clips will be on Facebook. So if people are looking for just like quick content, those will be on our Facebook page. That's kind of the hook them in and get them into the whole thing. Clips will be on our Instagram. So she'll be able to see some clips there. And then the full podcast in its entirety will be on YouTube, video form, and then anywhere you can listen to a podcast. So Spotify, Apple,
right on.
Google.
I'm an Apple guy.
A lot of the smaller ones are, any of those are on there. So Apple, I think we have a 5-star rating on Apple right now. Nice. I think we have like 5 or 6 ratings already. So that's pretty good. Thank you guys. And thank you for coming on.
Oh, thanks for the invite, man.
Yeah. Well, any closing remarks?
I'll see you in the barbershop.
Yeah. We'll see you in the barbershop too. I'll be in there. And before we head out, make sure you guys are sharing this. We're going to have a giveaway. I don't know what it is yet. Editor Caleb will cut in with whatever that is. But $5 off haircuts. All you got to do is mention the podcast, right?
Yep. So
everyone that's listening, please go get your haircut. Book them. Is it probably just you, right?
Just me.
Yeah. I don't know if we can rope those other guys into it without. They'd be like, well, all these people keep coming and saying it's $5 off, and it's.
Get our name out there, man. It's
already out there, right? But now people got a little more incentive to come. So mention the podcast. Make sure you guys are sharing this. Follow it on Spotify or Apple, whatever you are listening on. That helps us out too. And yeah, hashtag OTR podcast. Thank you again for coming. I enjoyed this one. It was a little, it was under the average. So the average has been like an hour and a half, but this got me out of my comfort zone, which was like something I wanted to do.
Same here, dude.
Right. And so, not all of them have to be forever long, because obviously if you know someone for years, you're going to have a lot to talk about. But thank you for coming. I really do appreciate it. I'm sure we're going to be doing a lot more stuff. I'll be in the shop. I'm sure I'll see it. Some more speakeasy sessions. Actually, this next Tuesday. So I'll keep you posted.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm sure we'll keep working on this here. But thank you for coming.
Yes, sir.
And we'll see you guys later. And I'll get out of here.